Hello everyone! Throughout its nearly century-long history, Disney, the world's most famous animation studio, has created dozens of iconic films. According to some fan theories, all Disney characters live in the same universe, so the animators have to come up with more details while making new movies. Want to see some Easter eggs hidden in the films and learn some facts you've missed out? Then watch to the end and don't forget to subscribe. Let's get it on! Reusing drawing. You probably know these scenes from your childhood. The prince and the princess dancing happily amidst the cheers of the crowd. The protagonist singing along with her lovely friends. Yes, we've definitely seen it in many Disney. It may seem surprising, but this is not only about fairy tale cliches. There's something more behind the uncanny resemblance of some scenes in different movies. For starters, you should know how cartoons were drawn in the past. Of course, they were drawn by hand without any powerful computer software. That's why in some cases the animators simply made some changes on an already existing drawing, and voila, you have it. Similar parallels can be drawn between Beauty and the Beast and Sleeping Beauty, Robin Hood and Snow White, Winnie the Pooh and the Jungle Book. The list is endless. If you compare these scenes, you will see that the movements of the characters are identical. Some think that the studio workers did it to save money and time, but in fact, transforming an old drawing is much more difficult than creating one from scratch. So most likely in this way, the animators simply made sure to create a quality picture. Secret voice. Surely you would agree that Lilo and Stitch is one of the most touching Disney animated movies. It's impossible not to be moved by the girl who lost her parents in a car accident and befriends an alien animal. Plus, the characters in the movie are extremely cute. Here's a fact that will definitely allow you to see Lilo in a new perspective. It turns out her voice belongs to the actress who played the role of Samara Morgan in the horror movie The Ring. You'll now have to live with this. You probably know Jackie Chan as a kung fu master and a protagonist of thousands of action movies, but his filmography is much more interesting than you think. For example, the famous actor lent his voice to the main character in Beauty and the Beast, and also to Captain Shang, the one Mulan was in love with, although you can only hear him in the Chinese versions of these movies. Secret Room. During his not long but fascinating life, Walt Disney did a lot of things, and most importantly, he loved his job. No wonder that 10 years after founding his own studio, the animator wanted to do something bigger. He dreamed of creating a real magic world right on the territory of the USA. A world that would be fascinating for both children and adults. A world where their favorite animated characters would be waiting for them live. Yep, you guessed it right. We're talking about Disneyland. It was first opened in California in the summer of 1955, and Walt Disney was so happy about it, he literally wanted to spend all his free time in the park. Want to know how he solved this problem? He simply built a secret apartment on the second floor of the Firehouse on Main Street. This is the famous and fabulous avenue leading to the park's Central Plaza. By the way, every Disney park has a secret apartment. The secret apartment of the King of Animation was less than 50 square meters. But is that a problem when you live inside the fantasy world of Disney? Of course, Disney didn't live there all the time. He used to go there occasionally and would light the lamp when he was there. Today, this lamp still symbolizes how Walt Disney still lives in Disneyland. Oh, so cute. 4 years after the opening of the park in California, it became clear that Disneyland was worth every penny that had been spent on it. So in 1959, the studio's founder began looking for land for an even bigger project, Disney World, which opened in Florida in 1971. Of course, he wouldn't pass out the opportunity of building another secret apartment in this beauty. This time, the animator decided to build a luxurious apartment for his family, the Cinderella Castle, and the interior decoration was much more richer than in the modest apartment on the main street of Disneyland in California. In fact, the furniture was made in the 17th century. Unfortunately, Walt Disney did not live to see the opening of the park in Orlando, so he never got to spend the night in the fabulous place. Today, it is impossible to enter the suite even on a guided tour. A few guests can visit this place after winning contests held by the company itself or by personal invitation. Names with a secret meaning. Walt Disney Studios has always been known for its innovative approach and bold ideas. For example, in 1940, Fantasia, a musical animated movie that tells the adventures of fairy tale characters, accompanied by famous masterpieces from composers from all over the world, was released. In addition, Disney animators were the first to start working with Easter eggs. In Fantasia, for example, the wizard is called Yensid. Doesn't this remind you of something? It's the word Disney, only backwards. By the way, many characters in science fiction movies and cartoons, from Star Wars to Lion Kings, have revealing names. Do you know what Simba means in the African Swahili language? It translates simply as lion. In the iconic animated film Finding Nemo, the creators taught us that great white sharks can be good-natured, or at least aspire to be, like the funny vegetarian Bruce. Curious that his name is a reference to the bloodthirsty shark in the movie of Jaws. Some fans even believe that Bruce in Finding Nemo is the son of the predator in Spielberg's film, and vegetarianism is a way for him to pay for the sins of his father. The adorable little girl from the Monster Inc., of course, is not named Boo. Her real name is easily found in the drawings she shows Sully. It's Mary, after Mary Gibbs, who voiced Boo. Creating a fairy tale on the screen is simple. The only limit to your imagination is the technical difficulties in creating what you want. But how do you make people believe in a fairy tale if all the action takes place in front of their eyes? That was the question that plagued Walt Disney during the planning of the park in Florida. Walt Disney was worried that during the daytime, performers in costumes would walk around the site with props from other cartoons. According to the animator, that would considerably spoil the feeling of being in a fairy tale. So the businessman ordered an intricate system of tunnels to be built under the park. It's still in use today, and thanks to this trick, the actors have been creating a magical world for Disney World visitors every day. And according to rumors, these tunnels cost even more than the actual park itself. Fairy tale smell. They say that some supermarkets spray scent of the smell of freshly baked bread to get customers to buy more products. But Disney park planners have come up with something better. They created a whole innovative system that better immerses visitors in each universe. For example, in the Pirates of the Caribbean section, this system emits the scent of salt water, and on Main Street, the scent of fresh baked goods and vanilla. And we're not gonna lie, this multiplies the revenue of Disney stores. Hairy monster. If you've ever drawn, you probably know which part of a portrait is the most difficult. The hair, of course. Now imagine having to animate hair and make it look natural while it moves. Sounds complicated. It is indeed. No wonder hairy characters are the biggest headache for animators. For example, Sully from Monster Inc. in the original 2000 movie already looked pretty cool. But in the prequel, which came out in 2013, his hair is even more believable. A small piece of trivia, about 5.5 million hairs was drawn in the monster's body. 5 times more than the first film. No wonder it took over 25 hours to render each frame of Monsters University. Unusual accessory. Mickey Mouse is not only a famous Disney character, but also an American pop culture icon. Even in the most remote corners on the earth, people know what he looks like. And surely you remember that the hands of the funny mouse were covered in white gloves. And you may realize that Goofy and many other characters also wear this accessory. So, what's the reason for such an unusual trend? There are several explanations. Firstly, it's very hard to draw the paws of different animals. This takes a lot of time, which means spending more money. Secondly, the gloves appeared at a time where cartoons were in black and white, and that allowed to generate contrast in the screen. And thirdly, the gloves made Mickey look more human. It may seem funny, but the trick worked. It was even adopted by cartoonists from rival companies. So that's why characters like Bugs Bunny and Woody Woodpecker also wear gloves. Oscar and the Seven Dwarves. Disney films are traditionally on Oscar shortlists almost every year, and Walt Disney himself still holds the record for individual awards from the American Academy of Motion Pictures. Among others, he received an award in 1939 for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But it wasn't just a statuette as usual, or rather, it wasn't just one in addition to the regular Oscar. The animator received 7 tiny copies, one for each dwarf. Famous last words. When people talk about famous people's last words on their deathbed, you expect to hear some incredible revelation. In the case of Walt Disney, everything was much more mysterious. As it happens in the movies, just before retiring to the other world, the cartoonist wrote on a piece of paper two words, the first and the last name of Hollywood actor Kurt Russell. Why? Nobody knows. However, shortly before that, the studio signed a 10-year contract with the young actor, which he successfully completed.